Alright. Hold up. What's up, everybody? Fix the camera a little bit. I hurried back here as fast as I could. I'm so sorry for the delays. How you all doing? Let me... What's up, Katrin? So... Gonna post a little comment here and you guys can download the model if you need to, or you can follow along on your own. Yeah. So yeah, super sorry for being mega delayed today. It was not intended to be this way. And we shouldn't waste too much time because it's already getting late, so we'll get into it. So today's subject for the 3D Bootcamp is gonna be texturing. And for the people that are new or watching on YouTube, we do these every week. And today we're doing texturing. Last week we did modeling. So we're gonna bring in the model that we made. And if you don't have your own model, you can just download the one that is pinned in the comments or is in the chat or in the video description. Yeah, so for the people that don't know, I am Onwa and I am a 3rd semester student here at CADA. Here we go. Okay, so for those that didn't follow last time, this is our model. We have a little lighthouse scene. And because we had some extra time, we actually got around to put some color on it, which we usually just do on the stream. So, texturing is all about making the surface of our model. So what does the surface of something look like? While modeling is about the form or shape of something. So once we get into texturing in 3D, we have to think about stuff like what is the qualities of the surface that we're texturing. So things can have different values, like different aspects to them, right? So something can be super shiny and something can be really matte. So if you look at, like, my hat is pretty matte compared to this pen, which is very shiny. My hat is matte compared to this headband above my head that's very shiny. So to start texturing in 3D, we gotta put materials on our objects. And I do apologize if it seems like I'm rushing a little bit. It's just that it's late and we should get into doing some stuff actually, because that's the fun part. Okay. So we gotta put a material on whatever we have. If we look at, let's just make a cube here. So in Blender, you can left click any object in your scene, go to the materials tab, and that is where you can make a new material. So obviously this paper and this bottle has like very different, or even this bottle and this mouse have very different materials on the surface, and we gotta determine those in 3D as well, so we know how the light is gonna interact with it. So if we go here and click any object and then go down to the materials tab, yeah, so we can go into the materials tab down here and then add a new material. And we can do this for any object. So the material has a bunch of different properties. You can change the color of something, you can make it more or less metallic. So metallic becomes like very reflective. So if we can make like a red metallic surface, which looks kind of cool. We can make a rough shiny surface. It's a little bit hard to see here. So if we go ahead and subdivide it a little bit. So you can kind of see, the less rough a surface is, the more shiny it will be. So you can imagine the surface of my hat is like, it's not, like it's rough compared to the surface of like a shiny plastic bottle. It's very smooth. So the rougher something is, the less shiny it becomes. So if we turn up the roughness, you can kind of see here in the highlight how that changes. Okay. And those are like the basics of stuff. So whatever you have in your scene, and we kind of did this last time, I just went through everything and I gave all the roofs and the boards and I gave everything a different material to kind of fit whatever I was going for. So for example, the roof, I believe I made that a little bit metallic. I want that sheet metal kind of blue. And the grass is slightly rough or whatever. Maybe the water could be less rough. Maybe the water should be a little bit shiny. Then there's the different render engines, and those will interact with your scene differently. Okay. So since there's like the stream is a bit less busy than usual. What's up, Clarissa? Like, guys, feel free to ask me questions about the process and all that. I'll be here to listen. We're kind of far in already with this project, so I'll just see how far I can take it in these next 1.5 hours. And if there's any questions and all that, feel free to ask. I'll be talking through my process as well as I go. What's up, Christy? How you all doing? You ready? Okay, do you have your own lighthouse set up and all that? Okay. Let's start texturing the roof, because it's high up. How about that? It's fitting. So, here in front of me I have a tablet, which makes this process a lot more fun. And I would recommend getting one yourself as well. For 3D, you don't need a very expensive one. Like even one for $50 would be like more than plenty, right? It just makes the process very nice. So to start off with, we gotta unwrap our model. So what we've learned so far is that we can change the properties of the surface, the color, the roughness and all that. But what if we actually want to paint on it? How do we go about doing that? So we gotta unwrap it first. And unwrapping a model is basically telling Blender where, so I'm gonna paint here, and where should Blender store that data? So usually with textures in 3D, the way to store data is you store it on a square image, right? So you have an image, literally a normal image file you find on your PC, and then you paint on that, and then Blender is able to read, okay, well, there's a smiley here, paint a smiley on my model. So kind of like these Christmas decorations that you see, or chocolate Christmas guys, whatever, Santa Clauses. So we have a square image, and we know that the face that's painted on the square image is supposed to go right here on our 3D model. So it's exactly the same process when we're unwrapping in 3D. We gotta assign different places on our image to different places on our 3D model. So right here would be where the feet are supposed to go, and the hands are supposed to go right here in 3D. So we need to do the same as well in Blender. It's fairly easy. We just click on our model, and then we go to the UV editing tab. Okay. And then, is it possible to move your camera image to the left because it is blocking the settings? Oh, I see. Okay, so well, I can do it like this. So to be honest, Christy, there's nothing super complicated about these settings right here. I was just showing off that you have these different sliders for each material, right? You have your base color, your metallicness, how shiny it's gonna be, and your roughness. Okay? And these you can just change as you want. So if you wanted this red paint to be very shiny, well, you gotta lower the roughness. Okay, and you see you get that. If you want it to be very rough, like very matte, you can increase it. You could even make it a little bit more metallic, and now you have like a metallic kind of lighthouse. And these metallic materials really show, like you really get to see them if you go into the cycles render engine a little bit more. Okay, and if you get like an HDRI in or something like that, you'll see them a lot more. We might do that today, get an HDRI in our scene. Okay, but back to this roof here. So to UV unwrap it, we go into the UV editing tab, and in here we select all our polygons, and you can see right here that Blender by default has kind of tried unwrapping our model because we started with a primitive. So if I go into face select mode, I can move it up for a second so we can see what we're doing. Sorry, excuse me. If I move it up for a second, we can see that Blender has assigned this place of our square image to the bottom. That's why there's this line here. And we can find all the parts somewhere. So if we select this square right here, well, that's supposed to be this place on our image. So if we started painting here, we would actually see it over on this side. And we can try it out. So if we go into texture painting, actually let's just go through the whole process one time. So you won't be that lucky with all your models, and some parts in here, yeah, you see like this part under here, it couldn't figure out what to do right away. So this square here is just assigned as like nowhere basically. It's just like a little line here. So we can click A, select all of it, then hit U, and then Smart UV Project. And then it will kind of figure something out that works. You know, it's not too great, but it works for our purpose. So just kind of assigned everywhere on our model to somewhere on the image. Okay, we can move that back. Now we can go into texture painting. And we might think that we can already paint our model because we did our due diligence and unwrapped it. But we can't really do that yet because we need to add a texture. So we actually need to create an image file on our PC that Blender is reading all the painting from. So we click here on the texture slots, we add one for the base color. And you can also paint stuff like the metallicness, so it's gonna be metallic in this area and maybe not that area, but a little bit here, right? So you can also paint a map for how metallic is it supposed to be in black and white, and then how white it is how metallic it is. But what we're doing right now is just a base color, so we can add a base color, and then we can choose a color to fill the background with. It's gonna be red right here. So now we can go in and we can actually paint. So with other painting softwares it's the same here. You click X to reverse the colors, or not reverse, to pick the other color in your palette. If we make a blue stroke, we can actually start painting on our model. It's kind of cool. And you can see we can paint on the 2D image right here. We start seeing those places appear on the 3D model as well as painted. But we can also go the other way and paint in 3D, and then Blender will figure out, okay, this guy's making a stroke on the model right here. That must mean that I need to paint the image texture right there. That's kind of how you can think about it. Okay, is this process making sense? I think you might have seen this before, right, Christy? I don't remember exactly if you were on the last texturing stream. But it's pretty much, I mean, it's just all the same stuff, right? So from here, we can start painting. And if we go in and let's say we paint a stroke here, we'll actually see it as well in the final. You're with, okay, great. So I mean, the rest is really up to sort of creative interpretation, to be honest. Like, you know how to texture, and the rest is just about doing it, right? So, and I might put a little, like a couple of new 3D models in here too, because we do have the time, and it is, stream is late, so there's not really a huge amount of people following along today. But I hope people will follow along on YouTube as well after. They usually do that. So let's see if we can. And a lot of it is just gonna be like adding variations to these kind of objects that we have in our scene already. So for example, these two roofs, I'll just so shift click both of them and then Control J to put them together. I'll just do shade auto smooth on them. So you can kind of see what happened here is this object here was auto smoothed. So it has a nice smooth surface on the top and then it has some sharp corners. But when I joined it with the cube, because the cube is not auto smoothed, it kind of got weird. Yeah, so you can just right click and shade auto smooth. And now with these two selected together, we can go in and we can go to UV editing, A to select all of them, U unwrap, or U smart UV project. There we go. Now we can go into texture painting, give them a base color. We can call this, yeah, roofing base color is great. If you want to, you can color pick what's right here. There we go, so it doesn't change. And we can start painting. So we can pick a color. So we can go to the tools tab right here, and then we can pick a color to paint with. If you're using a tablet, you can click the little button to move around. So since we are going with that stylized kind of look, a lot of what we're doing is just like giving indications of things. So maybe it's some kind of sheet metal with some texture on top. And you know, we can always go back as we're just playing around right now, just having a little bit of fun with it. We can add some variation on the grass too, so it's not just like a plain color. So we can select these two grass bits, join them together, and go to texture paint. And you know, just to make it easy for myself, I'm actually gonna go ahead and delete the bottom of these. Then delete faces, just so we're not wasting a bunch of space on our image for the bottom of those. Like, we don't need to texture those. Okay. UV editing, select all of them. Smart UV project. There we go. Texture paint. And we can add a base color texture to it. And for the color, I'm just gonna pick the same that we had over here. Boop. Okay, there we go. And now we should be able to paint. Okay, I don't exactly know why it's not letting us paint over there, but that's fine. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm just gonna add like subtle yellows and variations of the color that's already there. Maybe add a little bit of yellow around the borders here. So sometimes it might be easier to paint on your 2D instead of on your 3D viewport. Of course it's okay, Kratin. Kind of makes it interesting for me when I'm looking through all the stuff. Get some variation in there. It's more than okay. So we can start off with adding like a little bit of variation on the things, and then later we can go back in and like really define stuff. So I'll just keep going here. I'll go and add all these planks together. Oh, I already did that. Makes it easy. UV editing, and then Smart UV project. See what we can do. We could paint a little bit of like algae down here, maybe less powerful than that. And, you know, as you're painting, you can sort of think about the space you're in, right? Like, is there any history? Is this place like really old? Should I paint in some wear and tear and all that? Also kind of helps with the ideas. Because a lot of the time, like, the texture of something is kind of where the story comes out. So not just thinking about, well, what is the right texture. Sometimes it's just about telling whatever it is that like telling the viewer about the place that you're in, right? Or seeing. Like good texturing, it has to be in context. Like a good texture for one object might not be a good texture in a different kind of context. It's all context dependent. If you're used to regular painting, one thing to note is that we usually don't need to paint shadows in or anything like that. Because, well, the 3D software handles that for us. There's a bunch of settings up here that you can change around. Okay. So one thing that happened here is because we painted our bridge, well, all the other wooden things also got painted. Okay. And that was not intentional. We don't want that. And obviously the reason is they're all sharing the same material. So we can go in and we can make a new wooden material. So we can delete this one and call this one wood boat. So texture paint. Can go ahead and add a new base color. Can just color pick from the left side and hit OK. Then we can paint like usual. So I'm just gonna go ahead and this boat and sort of give it some stripes. It's all just to indicate that there might be some planks in there. this could be easier to do on the 2D texture. There we go. I hope things are going fine, by the way, for you as well, Kresti. Hope you're getting along with your... Just ask me questions if you do have any, right? And if not, I'll just keep texturing and sitting here in my own little bubble, getting stuff done. Yes, okay, great. Okay, so right here I just went into the edit mode and then use Smart UV Project. You can do this without being in the UV editing tab as well. Go straight into texturing. Now we could go in here and add a little bit of detail if we want to. Maybe there's some green algae, like little lily pads that live right here at the bridge. We can go in and we can paint that in. Cool. Okay. Let's get this thing as well. Smart UV project. And I can do all of this from the same tab. Like if I just go into edit mode here, then I can go back into texture paint mode, and then I can add a slot from here. Okay. Can keep at it. Can go back in here. Select all our wooden stuff at the house. Combine it together. Unwrap it, texture paint it. We gotta remember to give it a new material. Okay. We just gotta keep going, keep going. Did I click something wrong? Okay. You can always access texture paint from the menu, and then you can go back in. You can just add some. Maybe down here by the base it's a little bit more worn. It's a case where the Smart UV project really doesn't work very well. I wonder why that's happening. That's because we have a lot of weird scale on it, so we're gonna hit Control A, then apply all transformations. Now we can Smart UV project. Go ahead and we can paint. Yeah, with the scale. So I just add a little gradient on it, you know. Yeah. So we can add it from the sides too. Looks like that. These bricks, we can unwrap all of those. Maybe this door handle can be... So I can go into edit mode and then search for select length, or click Ctrl L, select all of it, and then add a new material, call it door handle, and then I can assign that here. I can make it like a sort of brass, copper, make it metallic, sort of like that. Looks cool. That top part there could even be brass, but let's just keep it to wood. We can add what's supposed to be the window inside. So, okay, an easy way to do that is just add like a circle. You can alt click here around the edge. Shift D to make a duplicate of that. You can scale it in a little bit. GY to move it in a little bit. GY. And you can click F to fill that. So basically we just made a disk, we scaled it in a little bit, we moved it in. And then we can give this a window material. So just call it window. Okay. We can just give sort of the illusion of a window, so slightly blue, and metallic, reflective. Kind of works good enough right now. This chimney. We kind of messed up a little bit because, okay, let's just go for it. We can copy material, paste to select it. Assign that. They both had the gray texture. Okay, gotta remember to Control A, apply all transformations, unwrap, texture paint. Okay. Okay, fair enough. Whatever. We can go with that. So we kind of did a little bit of a trick here where, I just unwrap two things together. And it gives the chimney a little bit of variation. Doesn't look super pretty, but we might get back to it. So by going into the edit mode, we can actually select a material out here and click on the select button, and it will select those faces, and we can assign those faces to a different material. Okay, I feel like that's enough texturing for right now. I kind of want to move on to something else for a little bit. So how about we make some bushes? So I just made like an icosphere, and then I'm copying it around. There we go, we got like a little bush. If we want to, we can even make some flowers on it. We can also make some smoke if we feel inclined. Go. Give a little bit of texture to this grass by making some models that kind of stick out. You can go in with the proportional edit, you can kind of bend these grass strands a little bit. sort of go in wherever you feel like it's appropriate. You can add a little bit of grass. Don't need too much, just a little bit. Okay, great. Just keep going, just keep going. You can also, if you click up here, you can make stuff stick to the surface. So snap and then to the surface. That can save you time sometimes. Just go ahead and very quickly create something that's a little bit nice to look at. paint all of these out. Paint in a little indication of dirt, because wind and rain and everything gets on it, right? So the dirt kicks up. Just reuse some of the assets you make. You can reuse them in creative ways. Okay, I went a little bit completely off track and made some, I don't know, seagulls or something. Just to add a little bit of life into the scene. Just like, I don't know what it is. I don't think seagulls raise their babies like this, but hey, whatever. Combine all these sandy assets. Just delete the bottoms here real quick. Can add some rocks. Cool way to add some sharp edges is to use a decimate modifier. Then you kind of get this rocky shape. There we go, it's looking quite nice. It's a little bit too busy here though, so I'm just gonna delete some stuff, you know. It's not always, more is not always more, guys. Sometimes less is more, you know the saying. Whoop. Okay. I think that's looking quite nice. Okay. Is there anything left for us to really do at this point? can just do whatever we want, I think, with the rest of the time. Okay, feel free to ask questions if there are any. If not, I'll just keep modeling and texturing a little bit. Won't stay on too much longer. I'll just add some edge loops, scale it at the end with proportional editing. Okay, let me know how it's going. If you guys want to post stuff, we should do that sort of soon. And I'll call it too very soon. I keep getting weird joins with the rocks. I don't know why. Can you describe it a little bit? More joins like it's triangulated. Okay, hold on. I'll take a picture of this. Copy it. So, what it could be. Is it kind of like this? Where you're getting all these weirdly. So, there's a couple, maybe it could be your shading options. There's like shade, shade flat, or shade auto smooth. So the color won't stick. So for these ones, the color won't stick. Does your UV map, if you go into your UV map, is stuff laid out correctly? Maybe it could be that multiple materials or multiple objects are using the same material. Post a picture in Discord? Yeah, of course, do that. Okay. So basically what's happening is, let's try to recreate it. So we go into texture painting. Yeah, and you see it's happening for me too. So if I paint with red, so it's basically because Blender is like getting confused about where to put the paint. So if we go here, it's because these two are surfaces that are like clipping into each other. It's getting confused if it should be painting on the right side or on the left side, right on the border. So something you could do is so let's say I wanted some red color right here. Okay. You could go into your 2D representation here, and then you could see that, oh, it's actually not filling in right here, and then you could go in and paint it. Okay. So my strength is down, so it's not really. And then you can go on the other side and paint it in right here. And then you get that. It's kind of a way to get around it. If I was painting in my main painting software, Substance Painter, I would know a bunch of different ways to get around that same problem. There probably is in Blender too. Let's see if we can figure it out together. Hearts out to you too. I can't exactly find that right now, but this would be a way to fix it. Yeah. Okay. Maybe we can set up a camera and everything this time to make it a little bit nice. For those curious, what I'm doing right now is I'm adding a track constraint, which means I can make my camera track this bush, and no matter where I move it, the camera is always tracking that. Numpad 0 to go into your camera view. Enter at 1080 by 1080. If you hold these corners, you can pull out a new window. So I can go into my camera view on one window by clicking numpad 0. And then I can adjust it on my other window. Okay. If you want a GPU render, this is all a little bit advanced, but I'm just doing it today for whatever reason. You can go in here, enable it. Okay, you can go in and make it real nice. Then we can go in. See how fast it will render if we go and click render image. Then we can save the image after it's done rendering. Oop. Okay, there we go. There we go, got a cute little scene. Boop. Now we can post it on the Discord. Yeah, it makes it easier to paint more individually at least. Okay, here we go. See yours, Katrin. It's pretty cool. Hold up, let me full screen that. Got some oh, my whale knowledge. Those look like orcas, to be honest. If I had to guess, those are orcas. The killer whales. That's very nice though. Pretty neat. Looks close to the original reference. I wonder if those are where does the lens flare come from? Is that like actually rendering or post, or is it like a plane that's been put in? It's quite cute though. Playing with opacity and lots of emission. Okay, that makes sense. I mean, if it works, it works, I guess. Nice, good job. Give you a heart, bow, and a star, because that stuff's shiny. I'd love to see yours as well, Christy. You have the spare energy to post it on the Discord before I go. If not, that's okay too. Okay. I think I'll call it here then. Sorry again about the delays and all that. I'm glad some people followed anyways. It's getting very late, so I should be heading home and all that, so. Alright, so I hope you all got something out of it, at the very least. I mean, kind of the goal of this stream is always just to get people introduced to texturing. Nothing more, nothing less. If you got that, then I would say the stream is successful. If it got you into the 3D software and did make you do a little bit of texturing, then I'm happy. There it is, right before I'm calling it, Christy P with the post. And I see some textures on that model and I am proud. Good job, Christy. Happy to see it. Of course, things can always, you can always keep working on stuff, but I'm happy to see some textures on your model and all that. It was a big scene to texture, to be honest, so good job. Pat on your own back. Okay, people, I'll give it a heart too. Okay, I'll go before it gets too late. Hope you all enjoyed. See you, bye bye, good night. I'm out.